In today's episode, I take a look at setups on Aussie Swiss franc, Pound Swiss franc, New Zealand dollar US dollar, and USD Swiss franc. As always, we'll also take a look at some of the best trades shared in our Discord trading room. Enjoy. Welcome guys to another episode. I'm going to keep this one short and sweet. I'm just going to run through a few setups, and I think two of them we actually covered last week, but we are still waiting for them. The first one is Aussie dollar Swiss franc, and if I look on the 4-hour chart here, we had this big impulsive move after the crash, and as you guys know, I'm expecting higher prices, but for now it looks like we could have a bit of a correction in the making. And if I zoom in a little bit, we are looking at a potential flip zone. We had this market impulsing up, correcting, impulse up, correction, impulse up, correction. We had the impulse, and then we had the big consolidation or distribution, and then the market started coming down. Now ideally what I'm looking for here is this market to make one more move back up to this level, forming a bit of a flip zone, and here hopefully we'll find a nice tight entry with good risk reward ratio. And then looking for new lows. This will be the first target, and potentially a little bit lower even on the Aussie dollar pairs. So this one's still on the watch list, and we're still monitoring it in our trading room. Alright, next up is the Pound Swiss franc, and again I covered this in last week's episode, so I'm not going to go through the whole analysis. But we are looking for a potential expanding flat to take this market higher. And we marked off the 50% retrace, and we're actually currently right at that level. We obviously don't have any trades yet. We have to watch the market for our reversal patterns. But I also have this lower level at the 61 fib, and looking at the pound pairs, perhaps this might be the more likely scenario right now. But as things stand, we are monitoring this, and if we do find a bit of a reversal pattern, then I'll definitely take this market higher, because it is a potential big swing trade setting up. So right now there is no trade, but perhaps if we do go a little bit lower, make a consolidation, and we get a breakout, and we find one of our patterns, then I'll definitely get into this market with the hopes of potentially catching that much bigger trade. And yeah, just looking at the daily time frame to remind you guys, this is the move that we are expecting, or that I'm expecting at least, is a move back up to this first resistance level. So yeah, we'll definitely monitor this, but like I said, it could still go a little bit lower, so patience is going to be key on this one. Alright, so then a new setup for you guys is that on New Zealand dollar US dollar, and on the daily time frame here, you guys will know that similar to the Aussie dollar pairs, we had the big crash and then the big impulse after that. And we ran into this daily order block, which is this last up move before the market started this descent, and we had the reaction from there. And ideally what I'm looking for here is move just a bit of a correction back to fill this void before actually going higher, but still a big move that we're expecting, and we're going to look at the lower time frames for entries. Now just going to the 4-hour time frame, we actually did have an entry last week, and the market, after it touched that order block, it had one more run to take the liquidity, which is something that we look for in our trading plan. And then the market came down, and then it formed this expanding flat. So potentially you had an entry over here last week, but hopefully if this does play out, we'll have an opportunity for another entry. And after this expanding flat, the market came down, and hopefully it's busy forming a correction. And next week, if we can find another corrective move back into this area and form another bit of a correction, then hopefully we can take this market lower. Again, this is just my view on the market, guys. Obviously if you disagree, let us know, share your setups in our trading room, and if you do trade it, make sure you have your trading plan and your risk management sorted. And finally, the USD Swiss franc. Now this again is a setup that we shared in our trading room last week, and we already have our entries, but we're potentially going to be looking for some more entries on this one. And let me just zoom out actually first. So on the daily time frame, we did run these lows before we had this impulsive move, and just looking at the 4-hour again, after that we did mark this zigzag, and we did mark our potential action zone where we were looking for entries. And on the 1-hour time frame, we had this flag set up, and potentially people could have taken the long on the flag here, or also on the double flag pattern over here. And if you're already long, personally I normally take some profits on the next point of liquidity, which would have been this level over here. But hopefully next week we can find another correction back to this breakout level, and yeah, I'll be looking for to add to the longs and to potentially take it higher to at least this point of liquidity and even beyond. So hopefully this one will continue playing out and give us another opportunity to get in. That's it from me, guys. I'll see you all in the trading room. Cheers.